Hi.
Hello.
Hello. All right. We'll give everybody like one more minute and then we're going to get started. So, today, this is short recap. We're going to get into negative space with different line making. We're going to do a couple little quick short exercises on that to kind of show like why we have negative space and to help focus our eyes on our eye as we're following on the image at hand, like whatever we want to be most prominent. We're going to watch Duck Amuck. And I know we've watched this many months ago, but we're going to do it again today. There's probably a bunch of people who haven't seen it, and it's got some good negative space in it. You're going to see that there's actually negative space all throughout the cartoon, and that will be able to see how that highlights, right, what's going on in the action. And then I've already started my Inktober drawing for today. Coral is our prompt. So we're going to do a couple of little exercises after we watch the cartoon, and then we're going to get into the prompt. We're going to think of something to do with coral. It could be something funny, something just scenic or whatnot, how you want to compose something, and then have you guys draw your own scenes. So quick sketching and then inking those. And then I'll show you where I'm at, and I'm going to ink mine also. And then just a heads up for where are we going to ink the haunted house? That is actually next week for Ink Camp. So I've got Naylene is going to be Thursday. She's doing ink washing, which is friggin' awesome. I love ink washing. So you guys should have a blast with that. And then next week we're doing Ink Camp, and that's the whole haunted mansion theme, and every theme's going to build on, and we're all going to create one giant image. And you guys get a fine art print of that. So I think we've probably got everybody that we're going to have right now. Good to see all of you. Let's go ahead, Wizard, and let's roll Duck Amuck. I love that cartoon. So Duck Amuck is one of my all-time favorites. Duck Amuck also has a lot of negative space in it. So if you notice when Daffy's rolling through the different backgrounds, negative space is blank space around, right? So that way you don't have a lot of noise. So like I've got a lot of stuff going on in my background. There's not a ton of negative space like this painting, or if you take a look where things are darker, this might be considered a little bit of negative space. So the point of negative space really is to highlight what's going on in a main action or something we want to bring apart. So here's what we're going to do to start, really simple. And then we're going to do a couple of exercises. We're going to use Daffy. And then it's okay if you just draw a loose Daffy on this, because we're going to repeat a little bit of what we saw in Duck Amuck. So you've got your paper, you've got your pencil. Scott, let's go overhead. There we go. All right, so let's bring my lights down a little. All right, first in negative space, right? What Chuck wanted when he was pulling this together is for Daffy. So let's say in the last part of the film, I just want you to do a circle for Daffy's head. He's kind of bent over a little bit, so you can do a little figure like so, right? Because that's kind of his body. And then we'll do legs like so, and feet. And then hands. All right, so just super loose and quick, all right? And there's his tail. So what I want to show in this super quick thumbnail, the whole point, remember, of thumbnails is just we're getting quick information down. So it doesn't matter how, mine looks sloppy, yours can look sloppy, but you have the idea and the pose of what's going in. So Daffy's holding up the frame, right? Because it's collapsing all around him. So we're going to show that like this. And what I want you to do then is to just make a box around, right? So that's kind of like the screen. All right, this is super quick, but if you can make a rough out like this, so we've got just Daffy's head, we've got his body here, right? And then he's holding up the scene. Now, negative space is right in here. It's gonna be our negative space because this is all colored in. So I'm just gonna do a light shading with my pencil because we're gonna go in and we're gonna ink this in a second. All right, so there's my negative space is right in here. And what it does is it draws my eye into the main action, which is Daffy holding this up. So I'm gonna give everybody a minute to just kind of remember, you're just roughing it in. So it doesn't have to look perfect. I'm not worried, we're not worried about perfection on this. Clearly mine is not perfect either. We're just kind of getting the loose shapes down so that we can understand. And this is basically, look at this like a silhouette. And give everybody a minute to just kind of roughly sketch that in. And then as we're doing this, Scott, can you cue up that part of the film where he's holding up the parts of the film?
Oh, sure.
And then I'm going to bring that up and just show.
Yeah, just give me a second.
Yeah, you're fine. I got a minute. All right, so everybody's got that quick sketched. So once you have that sketched,
wait,
like,
what am I supposed to do?
so we're doing negative space right now, and what I want you guys to see is, Scott, can you highlight that frame for me on that you've got up there? All right, so you see Daffy, right? And Daffy has got all the black space around him is filled in. The green space is the negative space. All right, and that's where pretty much our eye is focused on Daffy. So what I want you to do, if you just jumped on, is just to sketch out, like, there you go, right there. Perfect. So if you want, you can sketch that scene out. So we'll leave this up for everybody. I'll re-sketch mine real quick. So I want you to sketch this little scene right here. Again, it does not need to be perfect. We just want to get some of those basic shapes down. Notice that, you know, in Daffy's silhouette, his shoulders are up by the top of his beak. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to ink this in a minute as well. So I'm going to draw just super fast. All we want is thumbnails. Even on the feet, I'm just doing triangles kind of right now, just so I get the basics up. And then I'll roughen his beak a little bit. Like so. So we'll rough this in. And then he's got his eyes. This way, I'm basically wanting to rough in his beak so I know where I'm going to put his arms. All right, I got his shoulders right here.
Beaks.
So if you guys can see that, all right. And you see his fingers too are they're kind of exaggerated. I just want you guys to rough sketch this in real quick. Notice too that in the negative space, what it highlights, right, which is we want our attention on Daffy. And all I'm going to have you do is just draw a box on the outside. And that way we can see where the space is. Again, we're just roughing in. I'm not even worried about details on Daffy. My legs are a little short here. There we go. All right. So how's yours looking?
Speech bubble like this isn't on my bill or something with the stage collapsing on him.
You can put a speech bubble in there if you want to. All right. So I've got a rough on Daffy. give it about another minute, and then what I'm going to want you to do is take whatever you're inking with, and it could be a marker, it could be a felt tip pen, it could be an ink brush pen, it could be a regular pen. So go ahead. How many, let's see, take a show of hands here. How many are good to go? Thumbs up. You can just thumbs up to the camera. Tater Tot's good. Nathaniel's good. Evie's good. George and Victoria, all right, no problem. Keen is good. Nico's good. Did I get your name right, by the way? Is it Neko or Nico? What's that?
Yeah.
Okay. Soleil's good. All right, we'll give it like another 30 seconds. If you want to go ahead and start inking, that's fine. I'm going to start mine when George and Victoria are ready. So George and Victoria, if you guys just want to give me a thumbs up, or you can pop it in the chat and say I'm ready. And then we'll go ahead. So you guys can go ahead if you're ready, just jump into the inking. And again, you don't need to show a lot of detail if you don't want to with Daffy. If it's easier right now to get his basic silhouette down, it'll prove our point still with negative space. We'll do a little bit while we're waiting. So one of the things I love about this cartoon is how much there is in it, and I love Daffy's. All right, George and Victoria, go ahead and start inking yours. So the idea we want in to kind of show this negative space is, all we're looking for is to rough, you know, like I said, it can be a little rough, and that's fine. Mine's a little rough. What we want to really highlight is the negative space around. So we're gonna, the nice thing about this too is because it's such a high contrast, meaning we have a black background in that single color, I should say the black frame and the single color background. Makes it very easy to kind of prove our point here.
I finished mine.
You did? All right. Well, hold on for 1 second. My brush pen's running out of ink. All right. So go ahead and fill in just like that. We're using that image that we had up. Like so. To create our negative space. And then even in Daffy, you can shade him into. Just do that. Obviously his beak won't be, or his eyes. There we go. Super fast. Again, we're not looking for photorealism, but we are just kind of want to prove the point with the shape. So everybody's got yours done. Super quick. You can see that. So look at how
I'm done.
Okay, sweet. So we're showing just kind of like, look at the main point of the action. So where our eyes are focused on Daffy on this, right? It's that main point in the action. So negative space. Scott, if you can go back to the beginning of the cartoon where he's coming out of the swashbuckling, and you just see part of the set from the swashbuckling. Yep. So a little bit more forward, a little bit, and done. So kind of a good illustration, right? We have that background and everything that's going on there. And by the time he gets to where the main, you got to be kidding me's going on, everything's blank around him, but you can kind of see how that's building up. So all the white space in here would be considered negative space, highlighting the main action. Scott, if you can back it up just a little bit where he's in the middle, a little bit more kind of framed up. Yeah. And right there. So you can see in here, right, we've got not a super complex background, but there's a lot kind of going on back there, right? So it's not overly complicated. We do have some negative space, like these trees and stuff are more solid, but you can kind of see how as he's moving, right, it's a little bit more complex. So we're focused on the action, but it's moving along and clipping at a pace. So if we were to stop there and do this frame, it's a little complicated. Where's our eye supposed to go? If we were to ink this, how would that look, right? Where we have objects kind of all around, not kind of the best for maybe a still to do that with. All right, thank you, Sir Scott. So what I want to do is on your paper, you can just take whatever you're inking with. So oftentimes when we're doing, say maybe we're framing up something, all I'm going to do is a box. This is going to be my frame. All right. And maybe I am walking through the canyon and I've got my little figure here. So all I want you to do is remember splitting this into thirds, rule of thirds, right? So right third, left third. Just have a figure. You just kind of sketch that in like so. It doesn't have to be, again, we're not showing a lot of detail, right? So there's my figure. Now, if I were to have a lot of things going on around here, it would be confusing. My eye would be a little bit confused in the image, and whatever I wanted to get across in, as far as the meaning of whatever this image is might get lost. So let's just say we want this figure to feel like they're in a great valley. So we're gonna, but like there's a way out. So they're not stuck necessarily. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have cliffs going up on the right side. And then I'm gonna have cliffs going up on the left. But they're not gonna intersect with my figure, okay? All right. So that kind of gives an eye of, where we want to be able to very quickly tell a visual story, right? Where it's easily digestible. You can kind of tell what that is and what's going on through it, right? Someone's in a valley as they're walking through it. It's very easy to tell. If I were to add a whole, like trees and stuff and around and, maybe I don't know, something back here, you can kind of see how quickly it gets a little complicated. So not necessarily what I want to do. All right. Now, those are simple techniques, right? It's all about kind of composition, framing up negative space, using negative space to help you tell the story. So now let's get to our Inktober. All right. Yes, that does need a floating pod with a Baby Yoda in it. Maybe I can do a Baby Yoda really fast in there. All right. Should we all do a speed Baby Yoda? Y'all know what Baby Yoda looks like, right? Please tell me yes. Season 2 starts.
Of course.
All right, thank you. Season 2 starts in like 2 weeks. Okay, so Keen, nice job. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take that little story. We're gonna frame this up like Mando. So in like the key frame for Mandalorian, that main image that they use, he's in the frame. There's nothing confusing about the background in there, right? Nothing at all. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna just loosely sketch Mando in. I mean, I say like super loose. All right, he's got his gun here, right? And we just have that kind of nice horizon line, but there's nothing else. We'll do this. We'll give him some cliff stuff in the end, kind of like in the second episode. All right, everyone Baby Yoda, that's right, everyone Baby Yoda. All right, here's his little pod. Baby Yoda's like this kind of oval with these ears and these little tiny eyes. I am trying very
I'm
hard.
gonna have to go again.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining today. All right, there's our Baby Yoda and our Mandalorian, right? He's got maybe got his hand on that. Okay, so he's going through. We'll do a little shadow underneath there, and maybe nothing confusing about that, right? Our main action in there, we can kind of tell what that is. It tells a story. Yay! Look at you, Scott. All right, now let's get into what we want to do today with Coral. So I want to do like a real quick thing. I'll show you what I'm working on for my Inktober sketch. And I would love to know what everybody else has as an idea. So think coral. Now the cool thing about coral and what we want to pull off is the whole idea of like we can create little worlds, right? And we can have a main highlighting action. So in this case, Mac and Grunt, which are my two smallest children, are at the zoo, and we like to go into the penguin like area, which we can't do right now, but and in the penguin area they have fish tanks, and so they love to press their faces against the fish tank, and they have all the coral. So you of course you have to have an Nemo fish, and then whatever this fish is, right? And let me tell you, that's a stupid amount of lines to draw right there. It gave me a cramp. But the whole idea, if you can see how I'm framing it out, the coral and the kind of reef bed, the cliffs of the reef bed are up and around, and it frames the main story, which is this right here. This is my main action, this right here. So this all frames this kind of like a bowl, right? And the negative space behind, I'm actually going to just ink totally in, just going to freak me out, because what if I screw it up? Then everybody's watching. All right, so the whole idea behind, remember, behind negative space is to kind of use that to help bring our attention to the main action. And I want to ink all of this back here because I want the attention to be highlighted right here. So thoughts on coral? Who has a thought on coral, on something they want to do? You can just unmute yourself. I'm not worried about raising hands even. Who has an idea on coral? Wait, you have a carnivorous Yoda? All right. Let's see if
Well, didn't Yoda like take out that giant monster in one of the episodes?
Well, he lifted it up, and then that gave Mando enough time to like kind of at least gather himself a little bit so he could take the thing out. All right, so yeah, I can use a whiteout pen. That would be a lot of whiteout on this. All right, so who has a thought on coral? Something they kind of got spinning in their mind. Maybe it's a coral reef. Maybe it's, I don't know. I did forget the cape on Mando. I'm sorry. Queen Coral from WOF. You're gonna have to help me out. Wings of Fire.
That means, oh yeah, I was gonna say that.
All right, so because apparently I'm old and I don't know about this, and I need to be hip with the kids. What is Wings of Fire? Tater Tot, you're gonna have to explain this to me.
It's a book series about a bunch of dragons, and they do things. And so there are 3 arcs right now. One of them is unfinished, but the first arc has the dragonettes of the prophecy, and they're going through trying to save the world because the 7 tribes just decided, you know what? Because the Sandwings don't have a queen, let's fight each other. And so, like, yeah, and it's really good, and I recommend it to anybody who wants to like reading or who likes reading.
All right, so Wings of Fire is a series, and you said there's 3 arcs. So are there 3 book series?
No, it's all from the same series and the same time period-ish, but there's 5 books in each series, and the third series, which takes place a little after a bunch of events, it's unfinished right now, so there are only 3 books out, so I'm eagerly awaiting the 4th.
Now have you read all of the previous ones?
Yes, including the winglets that explain the backstories of smaller characters that help build into the story, and the legends, which are Dragon Slayer and Darkstalker, and they're both really good, and I recommend the entire series to everyone.
Okay, all right. Well, it sounds extremely interesting. So, yeah, Laura said basically we're all dorks. I would say we're all nerds, and I love being a nerd also. So we'll have to check that out. Thank you for the recap, Tater Tot. I now feel like I'm at least semi up to speed, and I don't feel old and obsolete. All right, so we've got Coral, right? We want to kind of get your thoughts down on paper because we got about 20 minutes to kind of loose sketch and then start to ink. Now, remember, when I'm doing my sketches, I'm using a light or a different colored pencil. I like to use blue. It's a preference. Some people use red. The whole idea is to get your sketch down. And if you see in my lines for this, Scott, can we go overhead real quick? So if you can see in my lines where I've got my blue line sketch in, and even as I ink, I kind of pick my line, and it's not necessarily the one I originally started with, or maybe I have several, you know, like even in here, that I'm doing something a little bit different. So can you add line to Coral? Like, can you draw Coral line, the older cartoon? Yes, if you would like to draw that, I am fine with that. So put Coraline in something maybe that has something to do with Coral, like maybe you put her in it, and that's kind of like the pun, right? So part of this and what you want to pull off, right? Part of this is the idea. So Inktober isn't just about like working on your ink skills, but also about thinking about that idea.
Can I do the Coraline?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
All right, so go for it. I'm going to start inking in here. As you see, I've already started. I've got this brain looking coral, and then my kids' faces are pressed against the glass. So there's the different inking styles, which is kind of what we've been doing a little bit throughout this entire ink month. And I know today is partly like, how do you do your lines? So when I'm doing line work on, I love Nightmare Before Christmas, by the way. When I'm doing line work, I don't always, kind of based off like last week's conversation, I don't always like to connect my lines. Sometimes I like to leave them, leave a little something for the viewer's eyeball to catch. Right? So they would fill in the gaps a little bit. And I learned that doing watercolor. So you can kind of see I've got some stuff going in. It also, if I'm not connecting the lines totally, it also can give the eye a little bit more of a feeling of volume. So like maybe it's a little thinner back here, a little heavier, a little thicker over here, like a little sturdier. All right, I'm using a Pigma BB. They have BB, MB, and FB. And that just means bold tip, medium tip, fine tip. And we'll get a little shading underneath. I am looking forward to seeing what you guys do with Coral.
If this picture doesn't turn out good, I tried my best.
You know what? That's all we're doing here, because I haven't inked that whole part of the background yet, and I'm kind of frightened. So don't worry about a thing. You just do what you can do. Because the second part to this is practice, right? Inktober is about practicing. And that's the whole idea of what Jake Parker wanted to start, was just to get people to draw on a daily basis, to get into that habit of drawing, because the more you do it, the better you will get. I guarantee you, the more you draw, the better you will get. Just like an athlete who works out, right? You condition yourself. I wouldn't know that because I like donuts and I don't like running. But I mean, I could like donuts and running, but I don't. I would rather eat a donut than run. So it's all about practice. Now, where I'm going to ink all of my lines in, my background, you're not necessarily going to see the little eccentricities in my lines, and that's okay. So for now, I'm just popping this in. You could love donuts and play softball. You're absolutely right. All right, so I've got one side down. Part of it too is what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink some harder lines along here. That way I've got a distinguishing kind of feature between the walls of my reef, right, and maybe the sides, because I'm not going to ink this solid. All right, here we go. Has anybody ever seen coral in person? And I don't mean necessarily at an aquarium or a zoo, but in like a reef.
I have when we went to Hawaii, and if you'll give me a minute, I actually have a piece of dried coral I picked up.
Do you? All right. So I got to go into the Bahamas and do some snorkeling. Remember that scene in Finding Nemo where in the very beginning where the barracuda's there and he's just kind of hanging there? It's kind of freakish. Well, I saw a barracuda and I was very close to the barracuda because as I went to go swim out to this raft, there were a lot of little fish underneath toward the bottom. It was probably like, I don't know, 15 feet down. There were little fish at the bottom. And as I went to go get up onto this raft, there was a sizable barracuda with those big old front teeth, spiky front teeth, just hanging out underneath the raft. And as soon as I saw him, you might imagine that I leapt out of the water and onto the raft. All right, so we've got some, again, in my line work, like I mentioned before, not everything is uniform. There are different techniques where all of it is, and that's totally fine. It's a personal preference on how you want to ink your lines. Today, we're just more concerned with negative space. So allowing our main image to kind of breathe and be highlighted. Let's see.
I found the coral.
All right, go ahead and, is that Cat or Laura?
It's cat.
Cat. Oh, look at that.
I've got a much bigger piece that's got more orange on it. And I also have this shell I found on the beach.
See, and you know what's cool about that is look at all the little, so like when you're inking, Laura, hold it just right there. Don't move. So like when you're inking, look at all those lines in the shell, right? And the little dots and stuff like that. All that can be inked. Thank you, Laura. Or Kat, sorry. Thank you, Kat. All right. So,
Guys, I just want to make sure, I just love the film Coraline. I've watched it to death. I love stop motion. I'm a huge stop motion fan. I love Wallace and Gromit and all stop motion.
So have you seen Kubo and the Two Strings?
I've seen it. I don't remember. I don't remember it that much.
So
The ending is weird. I don't get the ending.
yeah,
Leica is amazing. I love Leica.
Yeah, I'm a big Tim Burton fan. I like what he did with Corpse Bride and obviously Nightmare Before Christmas. I think Frankenweenie too. Frankenweenie was.
Have you guys seen the live action one? That was the original. The stop motion one was not the original.
Wait, which film?
There was actually a live action version of Frankenweenie.
Of which one?
Frankenweenie.
Oh, mate, what? You know what? I did not see that one.
Yeah, I think it's fairly the same. It's just it has the stop motion one has newer characters. I think it's on Disney Plus. If you have Disney Plus, you should watch it.
I do. I saw it on there today because it was Halloween movies. All right, so excuse me, Coral. So who's got it that wants to? You don't have to show your idea yet, but who's got an idea that they've been pumping out right now, and they are furiously working away on Coral, in which they want to take a second and explain before we see what the drawing is, because obviously you can see what I'm doing. All right. So now because I'm going to ink my background completely and my gloves, like Mac and Grunt's gloves are black, all I'm doing is leaving a little bit of like light around it. So you can kind of see it's not filled in completely. Yes, Laura.
I am going to draw Coral from Wings of Fire because I drew the character Dune for the prompt Dune because, you know, the same name. So yeah.
Awesome. Yes. I'm gonna love seeing that. I was disappointed that Dune got pushed back in the theater, but that's okay. It'll come out eventually. All right, so I've got all my main lines are inked, right? And now from here, it's going to be filling in what I want as far as negative space. So what I'm going to do black. And while if you were to take a look at this in general, it wouldn't necessarily, it's not as strong with just a white background as it would be if I start to ink all this stuff in, because then what it's really going to do is it's going to push Mac, Grunt, and what's going on here on the reef forward and then push the other back. So the fish will look better, like it'll pop better, and it'll bring more prominence to what I want my main image. I'm just gonna rough this in to the Mac and Grunt moniker. Oh, you should do. I love Jack Skellington. I think Tim Burton's character design, because I have the art of Nightmare Before Christmas, and I think Tim Burton's character design on that film is pretty awesome. And if you want to think about negative space and how that relates to drawing, especially inked, the Nightmare Before Christmas characters are good. Would be good to practice on, like draw them and then ink them in and put them in settings.
I like to show my drawing, like just a quick sketch.
All right. I'm not looking at my screen. Who's that? Is that Nathaniel?
Yeah, me.
All right, buddy. Let's see what you got.
So I tried really to get the shape of a 3D character into 2D because making a 3D character into 2D is just the hardest thing to do, but I think I got it.
Dude, nice. Yes.
I know my camera is sort of switched. If you
No, dude. I can see that great.
It looks better on the other side if you.
Way to go, man.
Yeah, so I'm making like a pun with Coraline saying, yeah, I get the joke.
Nice job on the character design, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Who's ready to freak out and possibly screw this whole thing up? I will raise my hand. Here we go. So while you guys are inking in yours, I'm going to start. I should take a picture of this. Scott, just take a screenshot. And if I screw it up, then I can start all over. I'm kidding. I'm just going to go for it. There it is.
I have a Nightmare Before Christmas story.
Do you?
A few years back, one of our clients brought in 2 original miniature models from the town that they used, to make the movie. And I was asked to restore the models So I got
No
to,
way.
yeah. So I got to actually kind of play around with the little models. One was a house, and one was like one of the scenes from the town. I'll try to find some photos.
So wait a second. You got to like, what was it broken? Did you paint?
Yeah. So the models, I think, switched hands. I'm guessing numerous times, and they were kind of broken. So so I actually got to like reassemble part of it, glue pieces back together, and basically like restore. I think I did a little painting on them. Just did a full restoration job.
Yeah. And this is why, ladies and gentlemen, Scott Ryder is one of the coolest people ever.
I thought that was pretty cool when they brought those in.
Yeah. I've seen some behind the scenes of making of that film, and man, like I love the art. The art to me and what they built in the miniatures is just stunning.
I actually have something from a production of another famous thing,
Do you?
the Beetlejuice cartoon. I think I've already talked about it, but I think I have the storyboards from it.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do.
Did you like actual boards?
Yeah, actual boards that were sketched.
That's awesome.
I got it from an 80s store.
Oh,
They're going
dude,
for $100, but I got it for free.
you are speaking Scott's language with the 80s store.
Yeah, I'm the happiest person to own those storyboards.
I would bet, dude. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, maybe when I'm older I might sell it, but who knows?
I don't know. I've got, I've got a bunch of Chuck Jones drawings and stuff, and I collect art.
I might keep it.
Yeah, I collect art because I believe very firmly in collecting art as much as I do creating art. All right.
Peter Tot asked a good question.
Yes.
For the folks that are doing Inktober, what did you do for yesterday's prompt, Dizzy?
Oh, all right. I'll wait to see what other people put in, and then I will show you what I did for yesterday. So go ahead and read off if people are in the comments, or if you want to unmute yourself, as I am neck deep right now in ink. So who did what for yesterday?
Liliana or Heather Rose did a circus clown.
Nice.
Liliana did.
Nice. I did Mac and Grunt and the teacup ride, the Mad Hatter teacup ride, because they like to spin that sucker until we throw up. All right. So here's what we're going to do. We got about 7 minutes left. Tomorrow, Mike Jazorka is up again. Love that guy. And I believe he is inking Whimsical Dream or Dream States whimsically. And I forget what his prompt was for tomorrow, but should be quite awesome.
There's a question, who's the girl in your pictures, Ben?
So this is my youngest daughter, and this is my youngest son. And if you see, like, they're, especially when we're watching the cartoon, they run over here in the studio because they're with me every day, and they come watch the cartoon with us. But my Mac and Grunt series is all based off stuff that we do, like that we do with them, or that I do with them, or that they do here. So this whole idea of the reef thing is exactly what happens when we go to the zoo. And right now they're watching Finding Nemo on the giant screen. So there you have it. All right, so we got about 5 minutes. Obviously, I am not done yet, and that is okay. What I wanted to show was get enough done so that you can see enough negative space in my drawing from the start when it was an all-white background and what happens when we, just like the Daffy Duck, when we fill some stuff in. So you can already see in mine, it's starting to push these two guys forward, and instead of just being inked lines around, they're now starting to come a little bit further out. You could draw, yeah, all right, so whoever said Nemo's mom, I was waiting for somebody to say that. Because they started this cartoon right before class started, and I was like, oh, we could do Coral. We could do Nemo's mom. All right. So we got about 5 minutes left. Is there anybody that would like to show an in progress? As you can see, I am not done. I don't expect everybody else to be done.
I'd like to show mine.
All right.
So let me just do this thing.
Nice job, dude.
I drew it with crayons, so I can't actually ink it.
That's okay.
Because
Crayon.
I like drawing with crayon. It just feels so satisfying to do.
Absolutely, man. Crayon is it's another artistic medium. Well done.
May I show some drawings that I drew with crayon?
Yes.
Okay, so I just gotta pull it up. This was a failed Coraline. I tried drawing it. This was a failed one.
So you know why I like you showing that? Here's why I like you showing that. Because oftentimes when we're drawing characters or we're trying to get stuff down and it doesn't work out, and it's good that you kept going and did it again and that you kept that. Because I do the same thing. I don't always throw out the stuff that didn't turn out well.
Yeah, this was a failed Coraline. I tried drawing. You see, I tried drawing this. I'm just trying to find something that looks good.
Tater Tot would like to share.
Absolutely. So go ahead, Tater Tot.
I'm sharing for yesterday's prompt, Dizzy.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. And how
You
it
should
turned
be
out.
happy with that. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
So if you
Share.
don't, yeah.
So I'm in the middle of drawing Jack Skellington.
Yes.
It's supposed to be like hauling coral.
Sweet.
I'm just like looking at a reference.
That's awesome, man. Keep going. It's looking good. Are you going to ink it, or what? How are you going to finish it up?
I'm not sure yet. I'll just have to see.
See how it goes. All right.
Soleil would like to share.
What's up, Soleil?
Hi. So I'm currently making my Coraline.
Look at that.
And then can I show a doodle that I made?
Yeah, absolutely, you may.
I'm not sure what this was, but I was doing a kite and then it turned into this.
I love it, man. That's cool. I like the fact that all the joints aren't even connected.
Thank you.
Very nice.
I found some pictures.
Okay.
So this is just a drawing that I did of an animal character.
Love the eyes, man, and the expression.
So I have this bird. I draw zany eyes to make most of the zaniest characters have personality.
Absolutely.
This is a drawing of a dog I did.
Oh, I dig the dog, man.
Yeah.
You got great cartoon style expressions.
And this is, I really think this looks like a puppet.
It could be a puppet. Kind of reminds me almost of like a mosquito slash like bird slash rabbit. No, not rabbit. Something with ears like a cat.
kind of looks like a rat.
Very cool. I dig it. Well, thank
And
you.
this is the first picture I drew with crayon. I drew it on something.
It's got like a Crash Bandicoot vibe for me.
It kind of looks like one of the Jiggies from Banjo-Kazooie.
Yes, very cool.
Yeah, I really love that you said Crash Bandicoot because I'm a huge Crash Bandicoot fan. I have the fourth game.
Nice. I haven't played it in a while.
Share, I did like a
All right,
Halloween.
I'm gonna stop now.
All right, thanks, Nathaniel. Miko, did you say you wanted, or Nico, did you say you wanted to go again?
Yeah, I just drew like a page with Halloween stuff.
Yes. The cauldron looks awesome. I like what's going on with we've got the Grim Reaper. The bat looks cool. So what does the sign say? It says rip what?
Frankenstein, I think. I don't
Nice.
know.
Nice. I like the ghost too. Nice job, man.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, here's my Dizzy from yesterday. I'll show you my two favorites. Well, so there's Dizzy, right? And they turn that wheel as fast as possible until we're about to barf. And then this is for Trap. Now, who knows Mousetrap, the game? Come on now. Everybody should know that. Thank you, Tater Tot. All right, so we've got Admiral Akbar saying it's a trap, and it is because it's Mousetrap. And then the last one is We Love Thor. And my love of Thor has transferred to my two small children. So one has Stormbreaker and the other one has Mjolnir. And the caption on this one was, Grunt, you get the little one. And if you've seen Infinity War, you know exactly what I'm talking about. All right. Before we go, am I missing anybody that wants to show? Doesn't even have to be today's, something you're doing in Inktober. The whole idea is inking. We'll give it a round and then Laura, go ahead. Nice. Love the creature, man. Very cool. I dig. Thank you, Laura. Tater Tot has his hand. Your hand's raised.
For the prompt rocket, I did rocket.
Oh, yes. I'm so glad you brought that up.
That's literally the most
I love the gun.
Yeah, I needed way too many references for the gun because it's parts.
It's a lot. He did, right? And
Yeah.
he can make anything out of anything. Here's my rocket. It's rocket launched on a rocket. And because Grunt likes to push buttons, he's going to launch rocket on the rocket. And there's his little gun. All right. So cool stuff, dudes. So as we close out for today, you've got Mike Jazorka up tomorrow. And then Naylene is up Thursday. And then after that, after this week, we have Ink Camp. So if y'all are signed up for that, that's awesome. It's on the website. But we're doing Ink Camp, so there won't be any of these free classes next week. We're going to concentrate on that and building out our Haunted Mansion based on all the prompts. So look forward to seeing that. And then the very following week, that first week in November, we're right back to this stuff. And we've kind of got some cool stuff lined up. So our theme is going to be pretty wicked. All right. Evie, yes. So I shipped out everything to California last week. So it should be getting there probably right about now. And then they're going to put all the packages for you together. And then they're going to ship it out. And you guys are getting an email. So everything's been shipped. The book's printed. Did you want to see the book? Did I show you the book? No? Hold on a second. So I just want to say you all did a killer job on this. So this is Carrot Wars, right? Scott, go overhead for me because I'm gonna do this. So here's Carrot Wars, right? And here's our Chuck Jones comic book. And we have everybody who put in their stickers. We have all the stickers. And then as we go in, so we've got the title page here, right? All of it, a hodgepodge of artists doing their best for the ultimate comic book collaboration. Well done on that, guys. We have Carrot Wars writers, artists, and letterers. And here's all of you guys who did that. Interior pages. Here's the interior page and your name by what you did. And then we start off with flipping through, and some of you might notice your pages in here as we go through, but everybody's stuff is in. So, oh, look at that, Evie. We got Nathaniel, we got Tater Tots, Massive Battle. I saved that for you, you know that, right? We've got Heather Rose, we've got Liliana, we've got Laya. Wait, Liliana's, there we go. And then I think Keen did. I think Keen did the last page. I'll have, what was it? Yeah, Keen did the last page. And so we have this. So this, it's all printed, it's all done. You can come back to me. And we're good. So it's all there. So they're putting together the packages for you, and you're going to get those shipped out shortly. All right, guys, have a great rest of the week. I look forward to seeing all or whoever can make it for next week, right? It's going to be awesome. Remember, the whole idea behind Inktober is just keep drawing. Draw, try out some different inking techniques, even if it's with a big ballpoint pen, who cares, right? It's ink. So try out some different stuff. Don't be discouraged in what you're creating. Just keep going, right? The whole idea is to practice, practice, practice. I'm going to freak out as I ink the rest of my negative space, and hopefully it doesn't suck. So you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for coming by. And Soleil, absolutely. Later, dudes. Have a great week.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, Ben. Bye, Scott.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
You're welcome.